U.S. President Barack Obama is poised to reveal his new initiatives to curb gun violence in remarks Tuesday. At the White House, Mr. Obama is working to detail to Americans the executive orders he says will not step on constitutional rights. Executive orders do not require approval of Congress, but could face legal challenges. VOA's Carolyn Presutti explains why gun control is such a difficult issue in the U.S.
Following every mass shooting, like the December massacre that killed 14 in California, President Barack Obama has pleaded for laws to change.
We're going to have to, I think, search ourselves as a society to make sure that we can take basic steps that would make it harder, not impossible, but harder for individuals to get access to weapons.
And all these are 9mm.
But it's not easy to change laws for three reasons. The first is tradition. Some say the Second Amendment to the Constitution gives Americans the right to own guns. Ben Weber is a former Republican congressman, now a lobbyist.
It is part of the American mythological experience that gun ownership is central to our identity as a country.
The second reason is the National Rifle Association. In 2014 alone, the NRA spent $2.5 million to lobby for gun rights and contributed almost $30 million directly to pro-gun candidates. The $300 million organization has 4 million members.
The NRA is powerful because they represent real people who get involved in the political process and express themselves and vote and are active.
Typically, Democrats propose gun control laws. Republicans defeat them. Democrat Chuck Schumer.
Unless the American people make their voices heard, the gridlock on this issue will not change.
But that is the third reason. Americans are divided. Several surveys, including a recent one by ABC News, indicate only 45% support a ban on assault weapons, while 47% think more Americans should carry guns.
But it also reflects this sense among many Americans, not all, that gun ownership, the reason to own a gun is for personal protection.
Mr. President, we're calling you out to stop whining about what you can't do.
Gun control groups protesting weekly outside the White House are getting their wish for President Obama to bypass Congress. But gun advocates point out any presidential executive order may be temporary if U.S. legislators gather enough votes to change it. In Washington, Carolyn Presutti, VOA News.
Well, President Obama is speaking now at the White House. Let's listen to part of what he has to say.
I still remember the first time we met, the time we spent together, and the conversation we had about Daniel. And that changed me that day. And my hope earnestly has been that it would change the country. Now, 5 years ago this week, a sitting member of Congress and 18 others were shot at a supermarket in Tucson, Arizona. It wasn't the first time I had to talk to the nation in response to a mass shooting, nor would it be the last. Fort Hood, Binghamton, Aurora, Oak Creek, Newtown, the Navy Yard, Santa Barbara, Charleston, San Bernardino. Too many. Now, thanks to a great medical team and the love of her husband, Mark, my dear friend and colleague, Gabby Giffords, survived. She's here with us today with her wonderful mom. This thanks to a great medical team, her wonderful husband, Mark, who, by the way, the last time I met with Mark, this is just a small aside, you may know Mark's twin brother is in outer space. He came to the office, and I said, "How often are you talking to him?" He says, "Well, I usually talk to him every day, but the call was coming in right before the meeting, so I think I may have not answered his call," which made me feel kind of bad. That's a long-distance call. So I told him if his brother Scott is calling today, that he should take it. Turn the ringer on. I was there with Gabby when she was still in the hospital. And we didn't think necessarily at that point that she was going to survive. And that visit, right before Memorial, about an hour later, Gabby first opened her eyes. Now, I remember talking to Mom about that. But I know the pain that she and her family have endured these past 5 years. And the rehabilitation and the work and the effort to recover from shattering injuries. And then I think of all the Americans who aren't as fortunate. Every single year, more than 30,000 Americans have their lives cut short by guns. 30,000. Suicides, domestic violence, gang shootouts, accidents. Hundreds of thousands of Americans have lost brothers and sisters, or buried their own children. Many have had to learn to live with a disability, or learn to live without the love of their life. A number of those people are here today. They can tell you some stories. In this room right here, there are a lot of stories. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of resilience. There's a lot of strength. But there's also a lot of pain. And this is just a small sample. The United States of America is not the only country on earth with violent or dangerous people. We are not inherently more prone to violence. But we are the only advanced country on earth that sees this kind of mass violence erupt with this kind of frequency. It doesn't happen in other advanced countries.
Well, that was U.S. President Barack Obama talking about gun control in America.